Sports Source is brought to you by Fast Frame with Heather Whiteside art now available.
You are watching East Tennessee's first and only year-round sports talk show on television. This is the Sports Source with your host, John Pennington.
Good Sunday morning and welcome into the Sports Source. Today, beautiful day outside. Yesterday was beautiful, except in Neyland Stadium. It was kind of ugly in there. Tennessee beats North Texas 24-0. Yawn. We will discuss that game. We're also going to take a big picture look at some questions about Butch Jones, the offense, Josh Dobbs, and the impact of his inaccuracy throwing the football. A lot of stuff today in addition to just talking North Texas. Let's get it underway. First segment brought to you by our friends at Phil Cobble, Fine Homes and Land. When it comes to home and land, nobody is better in East Tennessee than Phil and his team. Check out the incredible views available on 141 acres of farmland. This is in Roane County, coming on the market. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Only one way you're going to track it down. Call Phil this week to learn more. 141-acre farm, Roane County. Gorgeous, gorgeous views. All right, want to welcome in the panelists for the first round today. Bob Hodge, VFL defensive lineman Shazon Bradley, Jimmy Himes, and VFL offensive lineman Jacob Gillum down there. All right, guys, it's great to have you with us. Ugly game yesterday. Butch Jones, coach is going to take a win. He made the comment afterward, there's no U. There's just a W. I thought there's no U for an ugly win. And let's go ahead and put up a reality check. In all fairness, Tennessee's now bowl eligible, second year in a row. That's a good thing. Won an ugly game, but we've seen duds before. We've seen them. They sleptwalked a few times when Tennessee was ranked in the top 10. Lost to a Memphis team. So there are some bad games out there. First shutout versus an FBS team since 2011. The biggie, no major injuries. Backups did get to play the fourth quarter. And 3 out of 4 losses, this team right now, those 3 teams are 9-1. 3 teams you've lost to are 9-1. All right, so that's the positives. There's some good stuff there. But that's pretty ugly yesterday. Right. Okay, there's your reality. And now there's another part of the reality. And the reality is they didn't play as well as they should have.
No, I kind of thought that they came in and it would be real easy to overlook North Texas State. And I think that's exactly what they did. It just did not look like a team that was prepared to play. And maybe a small part of it was the fact you're playing at noon for the first time. I mean, you've been used to playing late afternoon at night. Maybe that had something to do with it. But I think that Tennessee came in. North Texas is wild. A lot of people think that could be the worst team in Division I. And I think it's just real easy to go to sleep on that. You still won 24-0. A lot of people thought that was way, way, way too close.
And I said on Friday here on Channel 6 with Michael Spencer that don't worry about the point spread, just get the win.
And don't get the injuries.
But so you accomplished that. But I expected them to get some points early, pull the starters out. Then your backups give up some points. That wasn't how you got the 24-0. It wasn't what I was talking about. Your thoughts?
You're running a spread option there, and Dobbs ran the ball 4 times for 3 yards. It's very important that he opened his feet, opens up his arm. Unfortunately, yesterday instead of throwing like he was shooting a 22, he was throwing like he was shooting a 12 gauge. Yeah. Everything was everywhere.
It was like he was throwing with his feet.
Jimmy, your thoughts?
Well, it's clear that Tennessee's offense is not very good when Dobbs isn't running effectively, and he didn't. The offensive line didn't have a very good day. The play calling was pretty vanilla. They did have a lot of receivers open that Dobbs missed, but I thought even with Tennessee not being fired up or focused, they would still win by 40. You mentioned the 3 losses, 3 of the 4. Yeah. If they had played like that against North Texas in those losses, they'd have won by 40-something. Yeah. They just didn't play very well. And it's kind of hard for me to imagine that Louisiana Tech would score 56 on that team and Tennessee could only get 24.
And if they'd have played against Alabama, Oklahoma, and Florida like they did yesterday, they'd have lost by 40 points. Jacob, your thoughts?
I definitely think Tennessee was just a little sluggish. It could have been the noon game, like you mentioned. First one of this year, Coach always had us ready to play noon games. I think he had them ready to play. I just think that playing such an opponent so far below us and in talent and pretty much every facet of the game really didn't get the guys ready. And they struggled against a really inferior opponent because Tennessee has a tendency to play down to people sometimes.
Defense played pretty well for the whole game. I mean, now you're playing nobody, but you can't really fault the defense. 199 yards, I think they gave up. The offense came out, as it typically does, scores pretty easily on that first drive. Then they stall out, and we're going to show you in the next segment why the stall came. Some missed passes that would have kept drives going. But here's my question. They've shown time and again that they can blow leads or they can get off to a good start and then they slow down. Is a lack of focus. And Josh Dobbs said after last week's game the players kind of took the foot off the gas. Is a lack of focus just part of this team's DNA? Every team has its own characteristics. Is it just a part of this team that, they lose focus?
Considering they come out and score right away most of the time, when they're sitting there and they're getting ready to get out and they're all arm to arm and they're rocking back and forth, I think Butch is getting them so jacked. They're so high that once that first touchdown goes, they score the first touchdown, they kind of come back down to their level, and it's an adjustment. It's up and down, and it's tough to deal with when you're young.
Yeah, emotional, and it is a young team. Nobody wants to hear that. But now I will say this though: you're 10 games into it.
And going back to the young thing too, you look at what their schedule has been all season, and it's been big game after big game after big game after big game, and all of a sudden now you've got this.
Yeah.
You've got North Texas State. Once again, a lot of people think the worst team. And I just think that your emotions kind of ebb down a little bit. I mean, you look back at your schedule, South Carolina's a rivalry, obviously SEC, Alabama, Georgia. You just keep going. All those are big games. And now late in the season, you're presented with this. And I don't think it's surprising they had a bit of a letdown.
What do you guys think about focus or emotion? Or
I don't know that I would say that they've lacked focus this year, because they took care of Western Carolina and they beat the heck out of Kentucky, and those were two games that they won easily. Yesterday they weren't focused. The time shouldn't have been an issue. North Texas was actually playing on 11 o'clock their time, so how do you explain that one from their perspective? I just don't think they.
That's the reason they played well.
Is there more on their time zone? Yeah, they got out of the comfort zone, I guess. But I obviously that game, I do think there's something to be said at times that Tennessee plays up or down to the competition. But there were a couple of games early this year where they took care of business against opponents that weren't that good. So it's harder for me to explain what happened yesterday. I didn't get that.
Let me ask you this one, or you want to jump in on that one?
I was just gonna reiterate that Tennessee every now and then plays down their opponents. It really didn't matter yesterday. I mean, we were going to beat North Texas pretty much regardless of what we did, and we got out there without injuries. So it's positive.
Do you think it's true that Tennessee fans focus on Tennessee? We cover Tennessee, but there are other teams out there? You always hear that. Well, they play down to the level of the competition. You see that in the NFL sometimes. Is that a Tennessee thing? Or is that kind of just everybody does that?
I think it's everybody.
Yeah. See, I think it's
LSU struggled against somebody early this year that wasn't very good for a half.
And then didn't show up against Arkansas yesterday. Talking about LSU.
Well, anybody that watches the NFL, look how bad Indianapolis has been most of the season. And then they beat an undefeated Denver team last week. So yeah, I think it is. It's hard. It's hard to stay at your peak every game.
And nobody does.
Yeah.
Man made Alabama. Man, they made LSU. Man made Michigan. God made the Big Orange.
Amen.
All right. Somebody told me, I will say this, I thought this was funny this week. I wanted to get it in. Somebody apparently put it on a message board, because I got like 3 emails on Wednesday, like in succession from different people. And they all said, if Nick Saban were this coach, Tennessee would be undefeated right now. My thought was, he's not even undefeated with his own team, which kind of gets back to if you're grading it on we have to be undefeated, you're going to be firing a lot of coaches around here, because that's not something that comes around much. And even with Saban's team, he's not undefeated. I just wanted to get that in there because I thought it was funny.
Not only that, Saban's never had an undefeated team. He's
Never
had 4
has,
national championships, but he's never had an undefeated
Always
team.
done it with a
That's
loss.
hard to do.
That's also assuming that you're saying Tennessee's talent level is so much better than Alabama's, they wouldn't have lost the game. So that's
It's a little out there.
Yeah.
All right. When we come back, we're going to take a look. We all know that Tennessee, when Dobbs isn't running well, the offense has troubles. But they could have overcome some of those troubles this week. I think they could have overcome some troubles last week if you were passing more accurately. We're going to show you some stuff that you won't want to miss. Come on back on the Sports Source.